Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So this weekend we're back on the Rally Mini, so we're doing the arches at the front here, so we're just going to be probably running 13s on this, so we're just opening up those wheel arches a bit. So we're cutting them back, and then Luke there, he's recreating the flange on the edge there, just to put some strength back in it. If I go around to the other side of the car, this is one we've already done. So you can see we've recreated that flange there. So we're putting Miglia spec wheel arches on this. So there has been some other developments on the car in the background. So my son's been getting all the engine parts together all ready for assembly. So they're currently all being machined and made, and yeah, they're gonna end up, I guess, being brought back here for assembly, because he's having most of the machine work done where he lives, which is a couple of hours away. The other thing that's been going on is all the brackets and stuff that have been made. Just started painting those, so just getting those all ready to go back in the car when it's painted. If we can get lots of that work done first, possibly even get all the subframes painted and all up together. It's just going to make the process so much quicker when we go to reassemble. Okay, so I've now finished the foot support. So we basically cut a slot in a piece of pipe there, place that on there, and you can just see I've put a few welds on the back just to stitch it in and hold it in place. So that's now done, ready to do a trial fit. That's for the passenger side, obviously, and on the driver's side we've made just a flat panel. I don't know where that is right now, that's just lying around. Also been on the lathe, made up another tool. So this is what I've come up with. What I had to do is get this bar, and then I welded on the outside there, just run a few strips of weld just with a MIG welder, chucked it in the lathe, and then cut it to shape. So you can see there's a step there, so you bore the hole that to that dimension. This is the other side of it. So this side here was actually the part of a bearing, so I just welded that onto a piece of 3mm plate, put that in the lathe, and then just tidied it up to make it round. Put another one on the back to give it a bit more strength. Welded that out, and then drilled the hole. Bolt goes through. Yeah, tap this one out, so yeah, that fires into there, and it's basically a dimple die. So yeah, when that pushes on there, that creates a nice dimple in the pre-cut round hole. You can see we've cut some in the back here on the rear valance, and they're yet to be done with the dimple die. If I go to the front of the car, I've now you can see on the A panel, so I've done that A panel there, so they're now done. The ones at the front, I think I've done this side. This side we started doing we had another dimple die, but it was too small. Another one that I'd made previously, so that's why I've remade it slightly bigger. So I've got those to do, and then probably mentioned this before, but we're going to put some in here as well for the brakes. So anyway, I'll carry on doing these dimple dies, getting them all finished, and then hopefully we're ready for rolling her over and tidying up the underneath, ready for some paint. Okay, so one of the jobs I've got to do in the car is put some kind of clip system in to tie down the wiring loom. So there's a wiring loom going right to the front up here, underneath with a kill switch. That will be coming all the way along the tunnel, across and up to the battery box. The loom will also carry on through out the rear bulkhead. Probably use this bottom hole here, and then that will do the rear lights and all the fuel pumps. So a little tip actually I saw on the internet, they bent a M8 washer in at 90 degrees, so just put it in a vise, bang it over. They TIG theirs, but I can't be bothered to pull all the TIG welder out, so it's a lot quicker. I'm just better with a MIG, so I'm putting these in at around, you can see they're around 200 spacings. And the idea is that you can just pop your cable tie underneath, like so. Yeah, wrap that around your wire and then just pull it up tight, and that will secure your wiring loom. Cheap and very effective. So I've got just tacked in a couple so far, so I'll carry on putting the rest of those in. The other job I'm going to do is I was going to use the original plugs for these holes in the floor here in the Mini, but I'm now going to cut some metal and weld them in solid and dress them back, because they always pop out. They're a pain in the backside actually, and yeah, don't really need them, especially not in a rally car. So yeah, that's one of the other jobs I've got to do. I'm just basically finishing off the last few bits and pieces before I roll it over, because once I paint it I really don't want to get the welder back out, so I've got to be quite thorough and make sure I've done all the welding and drilling and tapping, whatever I need to do, so before paint. Anyway, let's get on with it. And yeah, come across a bit of a horror at the front here as well, on the front wing. It's a bit horrendous. I don't quite know what's happened there, but I don't know whether it's because of corrosion and someone's tried to, they basically put a panel over the top of the original. So I looked at it and thought, nah, something not quite right there, and started trying to tidy it up a little bit, and then yeah, bits of metal were falling off, exposing yet another layer of, there's a piece there, look, exposing another layer of metal underneath. So I'm probably going to cut this whole section out here, because it's a bit of a dog's dinner, and then I'll take, because with the one on this side, apart from this little bit on the corner, but that's not too bad, I'll probably take a profile from this side, which I'll do with bit of cardboard as a template, and then transfer it over to that side and weld that in, and then I think that's all the repairs done. Then at some point someone's done a repair on the front here as well, so you can see that front panel there where they've basically must have cut a piece out of another car and just placed it over the top at the front and overlapped it and welded it in. So there's no actual rot in there, so it's pretty good. I'm actually quite tempted to cut through here on both sides, dress everything back, and then basically do a butt weld there, make a seamless butt weld just to tidy the front up. I just think, well, I was going to leave it, but I think we're this far down the road now that really the rest of the car is pretty good, so I might as well just do it. So I'll do the front panel first and then I'll make a decision. Okay, so I've ended up doing quite a lot more surgery on this one. Yeah, it was such a mess. So that flange, return flange in there is non-existent, so that's obviously all rotted away. So what I'll do is I'll cut that out, and I'll just put a return flange on there, so that'll be all nice new fresh metal. And this section I've cut out because if you look at it, you can see where they've welded a piece on there, but what they've done is they've actually put it in from behind. So they'd already done similar to what I've done here. They cut this section out very narrow section. So where I've cut through, that's part of the panel as well that was put in underneath. You can see the two layers there. Yeah, so that just, as I cut through, that bit just basically fell out, but that's okay. So what I'll do is I'll cut or dress that back to the original metal, because there seems to be enough, there is enough metal in the original piece, in the, obviously the piece they've replaced. So I'll dress that back, and because I've got that line there, and I've checked the measurements, and all the measurements seem okay. It was just such a mess that I couldn't get the front to line up properly. Nothing was straight, flat. It was all bent, different angles. So I've dressed most of it back now. There was a huge amount of filler on this car at the front. You can actually still see some of it on there. So let's get rid of all that bloody filler and do a proper job of it. So yeah, I'll clean that up, butt the weld that on there, repair the flanges where they need to be repaired. You can see they're a bit of a mess now. So that's my first job, is to shape those and put a new flange on there, then a new flange on this one, and then basically weld that back in, so it'll be like, hopefully like new. At least it will be all nice clean metal. The problem with overlapping is what generally happens is, you can, if you imagine that in behind like that where it was, I don't know if you can see that yet. Focus. There you go. So that the water will literally, especially being on a front fender or wing, the water will drive in behind and just rot through. So I don't know how long ago this was repaired, but there's very little rot in it. The metals, there's still plenty of integrity left in the metals, so we're quite lucky in that respect. I'm going to do the same on here as well. I've decided I'm going to cut it out and get this front looking really good. It will just make life a lot quicker for when I for the prep work for painting. Otherwise it's going to be a devil of a job trying to straighten this out. Especially, look at this. Imagine the amount of filler I'd have to put in there to get rid of that. So yeah, it's just easy to take it out, and you can see how misshapen this is here. So I just wonder whether this has had a maybe it's had a bit of a front knock as well. But it doesn't seem to have gone back through any other part of the car, so it must have been fairly light, or it's just basically it's really bad rust and just really bad repairs over the years, and it's just misshapen it all. So anyway, hopefully we can get this back nice and straight and looking sweet at the front. This is the worst area on the car, actually. Seems to be. Although I've just that's odd. Yeah, there's something going on in there as well, where the wing joins onto the A panel, but yeah, because there's not one that side, so they've obviously there's obviously been an issue there, and they've put a strip through. You can see that. Okay guys, so that's the repair, a new flange that I've repaired on there. So not looking too shabby now. All this area up here was so misshapen, it was unreal. So I've dressed that all back with a hammer and dolly, copied the shape on the other side, and then just checked all the measurements. So keeping an eye on the measurements here, and using a rule. If I can find it, hang on a sec guys. So I checked the other side as well, so just putting a rule through here, and there's a slight, this area here, there's a slight indent, but it's only up here, and it's exactly the same on the other side. So as it comes through here, it goes the other way. So yeah, so I've copied that, the same as the other side, because the other side there doesn't seem to be any damage on the other side. So Yeah, so I kind of repaired the flange on that one too. So I just welded a new one on there and then cleaned this one up, ready to go back. So that's not looking too shabby now either. So, and I think you'll agree that the join on there now, and I can manipulate that a bit more yet, but you can see that's going to be so much better than it was. So before they just blotched loads of welds in there, put loads of filler in it, the flange had all rotted away, it was just a mess. So now I can weld, I've already drilled the holes out through there, and I can weld it all up properly. Be a nice strong job. But before I weld it together, I'll just use this weld through primer. So that's got a they call it zinc it, galvanized rust protection, but it's just a, I don't know if you can see that. So it's just a weld through primer with a high zinc content. So I generally just spray that on the wherever I've got any flanges being joined together, just to give it half a chance really.